If you want the truth about 2026, here it is. You're going to see a lot of consulting firms disappear next year, and it won't be because they're bad at what they do. In fact, it's because they waited too long to adapt. The market is changing faster than most CEOs can keep up with, and buyers are getting colder, budgets are getting tighter, and the firms who still sound like everyone else, they're going to get wiped out. But here's the part that no one is saying. This is also the biggest opportunity we've ever had in a decade to leap ahead if you make the right moves right now. So today, I'm going to show you exactly how to stay on the right side of 2026, how to protect your business, and how to become impossible to cut, and also how to position yourself to be able to grow while everyone else is scrambling to survive. So let's get into it. In the 80s and 90s, the malls were the place to be. And it was this center of gravity, especially for teenagers, where you'd go and meet friends and, check out the new trends and really just feel the pulse of everything that's going on. And department stores were thriving. Movie rental shops were booming. It all felt permanent, right? I had a boss who was a very successful real estate investor, and she would say, we just need to get into a Hollywood video. They stay around forever. Then the pattern shifted and consumer buying behavior rapidly changed. Technology changed, and the anchors that held the entire industries together quickly evaporated. And what looked stable was actually quite fragile. And COVID actually accelerated this whole collapse. But the truth is the cracks were already there, and we're seeing this exact same pattern play out now in the service economy. And the industry is being cracked wide open, not because of a lack of demand, but because the value signals have changed. And top players who are, quote, here to sell you nothing, have given away more knowledge, more frameworks, more playbooks for free than ever before. And they're not doing this out of generosity. They're doing it because knowledge itself is no longer a scarce resource. Information is not what people are paying for, or even your expertise. And what is scarce and what commands real value is discernment. It's the ability to see patterns that others miss. It's to use your experience and your expertise to make informed judgment calls, to save months or years of wasted time, to avoid expensive missteps, and to be able to shortcut the path to a tangible, profitable growth. That's the premium. In the new economy, service firms don't win by hoarding knowledge. They win by accelerating results, reducing risk, and delivering clarity to results in a noisy, confused marketplace. And the mall that we knew from our youth, it's gone. The movie stores are gone. It makes me kind of sad to think about it because I really enjoyed, the culture around that. And the old bill for knowledge service model is also going with it. And what replaces it are firms built around expert judgment, proprietary insight, and transformative outcomes. The things that no one else can commoditize or give away for free. Now, before you start making big changes or tearing apart your whole strategy, there's one place that you have to start. And if you skip this step, very little else that you do this next year is going to land. So let's begin with this first move that puts you on solid ground. So first, tighten your value signal. All right, let's start with the thing that will make or break your business next year. How your value shows up in the market. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. In 2026, if a buyer cannot understand your value in the first 10 seconds, you're more than likely out. Not because your work isn't great, not because you actually can't get great results, but because buyers can't tell. They can't tell that you can get results versus someone else, and they simply don't have the cognitive bandwidth to be able to decode what you could do for them. They're stressed, they're overwhelmed, and they're being asked to justify every dollar they spend, including their own salaries, which means that you must solve a relevant, mission-critical problem, and your client must see a clear path to success. Action step 1, choose one outcome that you want to be known for. Not 4, not 8, 1. One business result that your best clients would happily pay a premium for. Now ask yourself, if I could only be hired for one thing next year, what is the one result I want my firm to stand for? This is your value signal. Let me give you an example. Instead of we do growth consulting, it becomes we help medical practices add $500,000 or $1 million of new revenue per location in 12 months. It's crisp, it's specific, it's bold, and it might also be a little bit scary. This is not about a guarantee. It's about being clear and building your processes and your minimum standards around what you want to build and be known for. Action step 2, rewrite the way that you talk about what you do. Most firms describe themselves in deliverables. They talk about audits, they talk about frameworks, they talk about roadmaps, strategy sessions. Here's the thing though, buyers don't actually want deliverables. They want outcomes that deliverables create. So rewrite your positioning like this. Here's the formula. We help ideal client achieve big outcome without painful problem in, and then clear timeline. That becomes your LinkedIn headline. It becomes your opening line in every sales conversation. It's the first sentence on your website. This is what you become known for. Action step 3, bring forward one crystal clear case study. One story that proves your outcome in a way that's simple and obvious. Here's the format. The situation they were in, what wasn't working, what they shifted with your support, outcome, and emotional win. Buyers struggle to move when they don't feel understood. Start with one, then stack on more. And with the whole goal being that your website is just chock full of case studies. 13 years ago when I started Hands Off CEO, that's what I did. I set the intention that my website was going to be chock full of the very best case studies. I wanted every single dollar that our clients spent with us to be tied to a specific result. So that's what I went out to build. And I invite you to do the same, because once you have that, it becomes a flywheel that attracts more and more of the right type of clients to you. And it allows you to be able to have work that really speaks for itself and attracts in the right type of buyers. Okay, once your value is crystal clear, the next thing that you need is momentum, and you need to have something, an engine driving that. You need conversations, you need opportunities, you need a pipeline that doesn't feel like a roller coaster. And what that means is you need consistency. And the fastest way to be able to build that, especially in 2026, is with the people you already have some trust with. It's not starting with ads or cold outreach. And I'm not necessarily against that. In fact, I really am for building the consistency. So start with what you have to leverage. Let's go there next. All right, so reactivate your warm pipeline and your fastest wins. So now that you know what your value signal is, now that it's tight, the next step is stabilizing your pipeline. And now I'm just going to say it, the next $100,000 to $500,000 of new opportunities is sitting in your inbox. It's not in cold ads. It's probably not in cold LinkedIn connections. It's not in content you haven't created yet. It's in your warm relationships. Now, this isn't just theory. I have taught this to our clients, and we've seen them add, 6 figures, 7 figures of pipeline within 30 days. I've seen it in every market cycle. I've done it myself. I've used this to add millions of dollars to my company. So let me walk you through it. So action step 1, pull your warm 20 list. 10 minutes, that's it. Identify past clients, strong prospects, advocates, warm leads that went quiet. Ideally, you have a list of people that you have a close enough connection with that would potentially take your call tomorrow because you have built that much trust with them. This is your highest ROI list that you can start connecting with now and that are going to really move in this next year. Action step 2, send a natural human reconnection message. This is not a pitch. This is not disguising a pitch. It's something like, hey, it's been a while. What's new in your world? Now, someone who you have a good relationship with, this is going to be enough to, reopen the door for about 90% of those people. It's not going to work for everyone. I have another strategy I'll share with you after this for those people, but let's first start with this. So this action step 3, now you're gonna have a real conversation. Again, you're not trying to sell here. You're trying to understand. You're trying to reconnect. And you ask, what's next for you this year? What's working right now? What's not? Your objective is to be curious. And as you're listening, then you can start a vision casting process. Now this leads us to action step 4, add one relevant insight. Not your whole process, not a lecture. Share a single insight that helps them see something that maybe they hadn't considered. This allows you to reestablish your authority instantly. Action step 5, let them reopen the door. This is the part where you're going to have to use a little bit of discernment here to listen for how interested they are. And what to do here is you retransition it by saying, if you want, we can hop on another call and I can talk through, what this could look like. I have some other insights I'd be happy to share with you. Clean, no chasing. And really what this is about is the whole objective here is to build some interest. Get them to chase you a little bit. It's not about you jumping in, I've got something I can sell you. I'm going to sell it. Like they can smell that blood. Okay. So I just gave you an example of what you could do with someone who you already have a lot of relationship with. Maybe they're in the friend zone. Maybe they're a past client, but there's also another strategy that you can use when you have prospects that have ghosted or when you have someone who's just basically is not very responsive to your messages. So in that case, there needs to be a little bit bolder approach. Now the sales reactivation blueprint is something that I put together for our clients. And the reason why I did this is because they were facing the same challenge. How do I be able to open up these conversations? And it's really one of the biggest opportunities to be able to make sales fast. So I created this and I said, why not share this as well? So if you want the exact scripts, the prompts, the call flows, grab the sales reactivation blueprint. It's free and it walks you through everything step by step. And it's simple, it's short. You can download it at handsoffceo.com/map. Section 3, build an offer that's impossible to cut. Now that buyers understand your value and you have warm conversations happening, there's a third piece that you absolutely need in 2026. Your offer cannot feel optional. When budgets tighten, companies are not cutting things that are driving revenue. And if they are cutting things that are driving revenue, oftentimes what's happened is that they don't actually understand that. There's a lack of communication and connection between how it's driving real results in their company. What they are actually cutting is what they see as support, as extra hands. They cut vendors. And if your offer looks like a list of tasks, you're vulnerable because they can find ways to do it cheaper without you. So let's make your offer essential. So action step 1, strip out anything that sounds like a deliverable. If it sounds like a task or an activity, cut it. Or more, really what you're doing is you're consolidating it around an outcome. The thing about deliverables is it creates friction. It creates price comparison. Outcomes create demand because so few in your industry are willing to actually stand by real outcomes. The reason why is because they don't know how to drive consistent outcomes. There is a way to do that. You just have to be a lot more more intentional about who you're selling to and what you expect from them to be able to deliver that consistency every time. So action step number 2, rebuild your offer around a transformation. So what you want to be doing is asking yourself and really looking at the progress that you're making with your clients. Before us, they were here. After us, they were here. You need to be able to just have that narrative in your mind clear so that you can actually communicate to your clients, because buyers want clear before and after progress that they can see and that they can feel. Action step 3, make your timeline explicit. Uncertainty kills deals. The words that your clients do not want to hear is "it depends." Experts know what it depends on and what results can happen in a certain amount of time. Your job is to give a defined container and to be clear on what's going to happen in the first 60 days, what's going to happen by 12 weeks, what's going to happen by 6 months. And here's the thing, is predictability generates safety. Safety equals closed deals. But if your timeline is not very compelling, and if they could look at this and say, well, we could do this without you, then it's not very compelling. You need to look at your timeline and look at how can we derive results faster? How might we be able to drive a full ROI for a year's worth of services in the first 90 days? What about 30 days? What are some things that you could do to drive bigger value and to drive bigger outcomes? Most often what I see this is where there is an opportunity to lead and drive bigger results. Things that they already should be doing, but they're not. Your job is to lead that, is to be able to help them connect the dots, and you'll be able to drive bigger ROI for them. Action step 4, make your offer CEO facing. If your offer only helps the team, you're going to get cut when the team gets squeezed. And if your offer helps the CEO and the C-suite, you're going to be able to survive market cycles a whole lot easier. And, add the CEO level component, the clarity, the alignment, the decision-making support, revenue insight. So really what it is your service needs to be so compelling and so valuable that the C-suite sees it as a high value and high leverage use of their time. Action step 5, connect your offer to revenue, risk, or speed. This is non-negotiable for your next year. Your offer must tie to revenue generation, risk reduction, speed or acceleration. If you hit all 3 of these and you become untouchable. So now you know how to make your value impossible to miss, how to warm up your pipeline fast, how to build an offer that clients can't cut. If you want my help identifying your invisible advantage, tightening up your offer, and building a category of one firm, the executive briefing is where we do it. It's free, it's live, and you walk away with clarity that most CEOs never get. You can grab your seat and I will see you there.